This may surprise you, but making a 100 on your retirement plan final exam might just be a huge failure. You may not have heard the term Monte Carlo simulations before, but I'm sure you're familiar with seeing probability of success projections. I'm talking about those powerful computer simulations financial planners use to test your retirement plan against thousands of market scenarios. Many think the higher the probability of success, the better. Who wouldn't want a 100% chance of success in retirement? Sounds perfect, right? But today I'll show you why chasing that 100% success rate in Monte Carlo might actually lead you to a very imperfect retirement. First off, what is a Monte Carlo analysis and how does it compare to something like the 4% rule? Think of the 4% rule as a simple formula. Withdraw 4% of your portfolio in year one of retirement and adjust for inflation annually. It's easy, but likely too rigid, and as we've discussed in previous videos, often leads to massive underspending in retirement. If you want to check out more about that, I'll drop a link to our previous video on the flaws around the 4% rule in the comments below. Now, Monte Carlo analysis is a bit more advanced than a rule of thumb like the 4% rule. It runs thousands of scenarios with random returns, giving you a range of outcomes. It's like a weather forecast that shows you both sunny and stormy possibilities, not just an average day. The problem is most retirees and even most financial advisors misunderstand the goal of the test. The focus is often on achieving a perfect 100% success rate, and that should not be the goal. Unless you have so much money you don't know what to do with it, a 100% chance of success is not ideal. Aiming for a perfect score sounds smart, but here's the hidden problem. To get there, you often have to aim for a seemingly unachievable account balance, work until you're 80 years old, or simply be content with a very basic lifestyle in retirement. Necessities only with a lot of fear around discretionary spending. Michael Kitces calls this the 100% underspending problem. His research shows that if your plan is built to never fail, it likely also guarantees that you'll spend too little. In reality, even 50% probability of success means you will be underspending in 50% of market scenarios if you aren't actively monitoring your plan along the way. I can't tell you how many people we've run across who had chosen to keep working and not retire because some simulation said they only had a 75% chance of success if they retired now. Sometimes that may be wise, but in many situations, a 75% chance of success would be a green light to retire now. You have to know how to interpret the variables. David Blanchett, another well-respected retirement researcher, agrees. He's shown that overly conservative plans often leave retirees with large unused balances, not by design, but by default. These retirees didn't spend enough, possibly missing out on meaningful experiences in their healthiest years. In short, you passed the Monte Carlo test, but may have failed to enjoy retirement. This is critical. Retirement isn't just about avoiding failure. It's about using your money to create a fulfilling life, especially during your active early years. If you aim too high on success probability, you risk missing out on living. It's much better to frame your results as a probability of adjustment. So an 80% probability of success means you have a 20% probability of making adjustments in spending. Now, if you barely have enough assets to meet your minimal needs to survive in retirement, you may need to be more conservative in your planning. However, the more discretionary spending you have built into your plan, the lower percentage probability of success you can aim for. For example, if $5,000 a month keeps the lights on and food on the table, and a 100% chance of success shows you being able to spend $6,000 per month, that means you will likely never need to make any cuts to your spending. But what if you can spend $9,000 a month with an 80% chance of success? Doesn't mean your whole plan would fail 20% of the time, but that you may need to cut back on your now larger discretionary spending bucket. Most retirees I explain this to are okay with a 20% chance of having to make that adjustment, especially since many of those scenarios won't even have them cutting back to the original $6,000 a month number. Yet, a 100% success plan assumes you won't or can't make adjustments. That's unrealistic. Retirees are adaptable. When needed, they make smart choices and adjust their budgets. So what's the better approach? Rather than aim for a 100% chance of success, many professionals now believe the optimal target is lower. According to Blanchette's research, 80% is considered the optimal probability of success. This gives you room to spend confidently while still protecting against the unexpected. As we mentioned earlier, the bigger your percentage of discretionary spending is, the lower you can go in your optimal amount. This is where probability-based guardrails come in. Instead of locking into one static spending plan, you monitor your plan's success probability over time. If that probability falls below a guardrail, say from 80% down to 70%, that's your signal to reassess and potentially cut back temporarily. How much and how long to cut back for takes some advanced knowledge, which is why an advisor who understands this process can be worth their weight in gold. Conversely, if your probability rises, you might choose to spend a little more. This system creates flexibility and keeps your spending aligned with what's actually happening in the markets, economy, and your individual spending habits. Another factor to consider is how much guaranteed income you have, whether that's Social Security, a pension, an income annuity, or a combination of all three. If you have enough guaranteed income to cover your basic spending needs in retirement, you have a lot more flexibility when determining your optimal probability of success. Key here is working closely with your advisor. Dynamic adjustments allow you to spend appropriately when times are good and tighten the belt slightly when needed, all while maintaining financial security. Here's the big takeaway. Aiming for 100% success may seem safe, but it almost guarantees underspending and regret. Instead, targeting around 80% probability of success as a starting point, going lower or higher based on your individual circumstances, with a dynamic probability-based guardrail approach gives you the best of both worlds. Confidence you won't likely run out of money, the flexibility to enjoy retirement while you're healthy and active, the ability to adjust intelligently if markets shift. Retirement planning isn't about acing a test. It's about living a life that balances security and fulfillment. If you found this helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more discussions like this.